If you can get a good EMP off, that could be the major difference in this attack. Not a lot of Zealots, though. That is a really Dragoon-heavy army. And that's a very tank-heavy army to the south. So even if Luxury goes for this, I don't think it's going to be all that great a situation. Because look at that. That's going to be all the Zealots right there. Ouch. And okay, there was a stasis. Didn't catch enough, though. So Luxury immediately going to have to back up. Leta really looking determined here. He's like, this is my race. Not gonna fall back to it. So not enough Zealots really stopping that attack rather quickly. And also not a lot of Arbiters to come and get additional, and not any Psystorm either. So let's see if we get the Arbiters, the Psystorm, and some mix-up. And right now, a little bit of danger. That's a lot of tanks. A little bit in danger of maybe losing everything in the upper right-hand corner. And that looks like the exact direction that Leta is heading. Because he does not have an attack force to really oppose this. He does not have, keep in mind, no Arbiters building that entire interim. And I haven't seen any High Templar to really run in and do any mix here. And all Dragoons does not line up well against all tanks. So I guess, I'm not sure who built all the, I guess it was Reach, who went rather Dragoon heavy. I don't know. Kind of odd decision making. But the Dragoons going in for a counterattack on the front. I don't know how successful it's going to be. A lot of mines in the way, still a lot of tanks in the way. Let's see if they siege up. But they definitely, looks like Leta is going to be able to break that upper right-hand corner. Now all the tanks flooding in. I still think there's a lot of tanks up on the high ground and enough defenses, but he should be able to take some of these turrets up. I'm curious how many tanks actually are up on the high ground. Now those tanks coming around, this entire attack actually is going to get pincered in. He's going to lose even the Dragoons he had that might have been able to defend here. And there's the tanks from the north, brutalizing these Dragoons. Let's see if he just runs in for an EMP. And now he's like, no, run away, you're going to die. And get the army out of there, and it's just not happening. It's like, oh, you can see the fist slam right there. Dragoons, oh, blue goo everywhere. Going to be able to get a couple SCV kills, but it's not going to make up for losing all of his entire army. So going from the economic heroic position with all sorts of tech to losing expansions and not being able to defend anything now. And this is going to be, this is where it turns into the train of destruction that can, oh, carrier switch. Quick switch to carriers. That's where his army was. Okay. So, clever. Sneaky. So it's going to be a race now, actually. And I think, actually, that Reach, who's going to be in position to work with these momentarily, is going to be able to win this out now, because I don't see a lot of anti-air. First of all, those upgrades were behind additionally, and I don't know how quickly those upgrades were shifting. Too many cooks in the pot, you know, so I don't know if those upgrades were working. And I don't know how long they're going to be able to sustain this. So it's going to be an Arbiter carrier army, though, which is extremely difficult to counter, especially when nothing you have is tanks. But if you can weather the storm, you're just going to end up in such a great economic position, because that's expensive. That is a lot of resources that's being pumped out, and that's a lot of resources that are being cut off right before our eyes here. So Zealots running up. There's the first two carriers. If he can get 6 out, along with that, those two Arbiters, it's going to be a really formidable force. And it could be a really gritty battle, because the tank's unsieged underneath with nothing to oppose. You can just kind of run in, and it looks like time's going to run out. So now we're in a situation where it's going to be great. The Zerg player versus, I believe, Reach, who you do not want to have with carriers and a recall right there to get 4 Dragoons to the 6 o'clock to stop that expansion. So, wow. Actually, Reach in a fantastic position here. The carriers, the Arbiters, he can probably take the base to the bottom left, everything in the bottom left, while he runs the carriers across the field to engage that tank army. And really, what Great needs to do is just attack move and try to take out everything he can as quickly as possible, while shifting his army straight to either Wraith and Goliath or both. And it looks like he did anticipate it, so he's got a lot of Goliaths out there. So he's actually in good position. So it looks like Leta did get a good comm set off, did anticipate this. So actually now, I gotta say, bad position for Reach altogether. He saw it. He's got the Goliaths out. And now with that weapon differential, looks like he does have level 2 shield, level 1 armor. I think he's got the level 1 weapons. Those, especially with the Arbiters, wherever they are, if they get in the mix, it's going to be really difficult for those Goliaths to really accomplish anything. The key is going to be picking off that Science Vessel. That Science Vessel getting super greedy. Okay, it looks like it did manage to run up, get an EMP, but let's see if he gets taken out. Still going to be some comset, but that comset gets worked out, and there's going to be nothing to provide detection. Those Goliaths are going to be extremely vulnerable. The carrier is just kind of pushing in and out of the mix, still trying to take that bottom left, and there's another large carrier force, and I think there's just going to be too many carriers actually for the Goliaths on the ground. I still think there's a lot of tanks in supply, and all Reach really needs to do is focus straight on the Goliaths. Big counterattack from Leta though, so just pressing down to that bottom left, and that's not going to last. That troop grouping's not going to last for very long. Looks like there is an Arbiter there, so if he can get a stasis on the ramp, that'll be the difference here. He really needs a good stasis on the ramp to provide some delay. In fact, I don't know if he's even going to stasis his own troops, but let's see if he can get a stasis there to really even things up. Okay, looks like he's running out. Good Psy Storm there. Going to lose his probes as they're moving down, but still not too bad. Loses that Arbiter a little bit carelessly. Another good Psy Storm to take out a lot of those Goliaths, and between those Dragoons, Goliaths and the inferior upgrades, looks like Reach is going to be able to press this back, especially with those carriers bearing down. And now, wow, great getting greedy in true Zerg fashion, expanding everywhere in that upper right-hand corner. He's like, you know, what do I do in this situation? I expand everywhere. Still, again, no Arbiter there to kind of support those carriers to really make sure those Goliaths aren't really picking off those Arbiters as best they can. Looks like there's still comsats going back in the field. There's also not a lot of... It's wide open space, so the Goliaths can keep pushing, so he's going to need some support troops. But some Zealots sneaking into the 9 o'clock. The Goliath's just kind of pressing down. I don't think he realizes there's an attack in this back edge at the 9 o'clock position. That's still a lot of carriers. So as long as he can keep spanning that attack out, actually, I think the Goliaths are ultimately going to lose, and what it's going to come down to is just a superior economy on Reach's side. And a Ghost out in the mix, able to get, okay, 2 Ghosts out in the mix, able to get 1 lockdown. Looks like he's going to be able to get a 2nd lockdown on these carriers. So there's 1 carrier down to that massive Goliath force off that lockdown. But still, at that current position, I don't know how... Oh, and a nuke! A nuke in the mix! Wow. That's what you can expect out of matches like these. So a nuke in the mix from Great. Great's like, okay, let me switch it up. I'm going to go just straight nuke, and let's see. I don't know that that's really going to be able to pay off economically for him unless he can run up and get an EMP across a lot of the gateways or a lot of the Stargates, really. Or even if he takes out 1 expansion, that bottom left-hand corner, he really needs to take out all of them, and Reach can just turn around and rebuild it when it comes down to the line. But I wonder if there's going to be recall in that upper right-hand corner. It's flashing 10 seconds to the switch, and I'm kind of waiting for the Ghost out in the field. Excuse me, by the way. A little burping commentary. Yeah, it's good stuff. Carrier moving into that upper right-hand corner to kind of just take everything out here, and maybe you're not going to be able to nuke a moving carrier army. Now wow, slurring all over the place. You'd think I'd been drinking, and I haven't. Gets a really good workout is what it comes down to, almost as good as alcohol. There's the carriers and the Arbiters in that upper right-hand corner, and there is a Ghost there. So I don't think a nuke is really going to be able to... I'm curious where this nuke is going to go off. He needs to use it quickly, though, because he's going to end up losing that silo momentarily. So maybe he should just go... Okay, he's moved the Goliaths up to kind of cut that off. That is a lot of Goliaths, so maybe he can do something here. Let's see where that Ghost's head. So... Ghost's head. That almost sounds like a bar. Ghost head. Level 2 armor, level 2 shield. Still a lot of carriers in that mix. That 1 carrier stranded in the bottom left-hand corner. There's a nuke prepared, and now Free is just kind of debating where to use it, it looks like. Still wants to make sure, and he's kind of in a precarious position, because he can't really just flat nuke here, and needs to be careful not to get that Ghost picked off. He's kind of in a precarious position where he doesn't want to push back away from this carrier fleet. He does have a Ghost. He can land a nuke, but where? Where can he land it? Where would it be most effectively used? And unless he can run up and lock down that entire carrier army, a single nuke there is really not going to be worth it. That's the thing. If you're going to invest in a nuke, you really want to make it worth it. And currently, their economy is just kind of getting pummeled. As you can see, the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, both in C's hands. He's got the entire left-hand side of the map, where the right-hand side of the map, he does have, it looks like, okay, building another command center. He does have some territory being retaken there, but otherwise, a lot of High Templar to just, to thin out, and a couple Dragoons as well, to thin out that Goliath force. It really, needs to use the nuke sooner rather than later. Otherwise, he's just going to end up getting kind of pushed out. And there it looks like a dropship moving out in the field. Something in Korean on a laptop. Wish I could read it. Gonna see some Ghosts, so I think he's got to be a little bit suspicious here. Okay, not where the Psy Storms you want. Well, not where you wanted the Psy Storms. Does manage to get a nice Psy Storm off right there. And now the carriers just pushing in. Looks like they're just moving straight across the turrets for some reason. That's gonna draw those Goliaths back, but might open up a spot for the nuke. And I'd hate to see this game go on without that nuke being used. All sorts of turrets up there, though. And again, this is just kind of buying time here. So, and that's a lot of ghosts. So it looks like he is going to just go for the full lockdown plus